Okay guys, this is another stone coat countertop that we did. This is just a really neat color. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to make this top from start to finish. This is just a really neat project. Also, what we've done on this project is we've done a split face rock edge, and it just looks really natural. It's really cool. This is just a neat project. We have a nice vein there in the center. I'm going to teach you how to do accent islands. We have like a marbleized look on the outside coming into a nice teal blue, really wild vein. And you can do something simple or something very fancy like this, and everything in between using stone coat countertops. Okay guys, everything that you're going to see in this cool video making a stone coat countertop has been specially formulated to work in conjunction with the products that you'll see us use. When we use spray paint that we buy at our local hardware store, this product is formulated to work in conjunction with those. So it's easy to color, the colors are unlimited, but you need to use a stone coat product. The stone coat product is made to be polished, it can be honed, it's a very hard, durable finish that can be refinished if necessary to a different shine. It's very versatile and it's extremely unique. It is made for what you saw in this video. So please visit our website, check it out, and enjoy the process of how we create just, we call this functional art. It's a countertop that looks like art. Enjoy. Alright, so the first step that we do after we have our MDF all prepped and ready to go, I've already got my edges ready. Go back and watch my other videos if you want to see how the edges get complete. In this case, we're going to do more of a live edge split rock face, and so I did a rock face on the edge, and it's not perfect edges. I went in and out a little bit, but my other videos will teach you how to do that. This video, we're just concentrating on the color and how to make this MDF look like a slab of stone. You can do this, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now. This is paint and primer in 1. This is just a black color, and we're going to go ahead and just paint this black. I like to let this dry really well before I start the stone coat process. But all I do is I pour a little bit of paint out, and then this is just a simple weenie roller, just a little foam roller with no texture. You can use a very small nap if you want on a roller. It doesn't matter that much, but this you just want to get a base color down. You want to use something that's paint and primer in 1 so that it bites really well and it bonds to the MDF. So all I'm doing here is I'm just going to make sure and cover everything, and then it makes the edges right now, because I used my edge material on this to make it look like stone, they're 2 different colors. So as you color this, you're going to go ahead and make this thing look more like a slab. So all I'm doing is just moving the paint around. You know, we're going to cover this. I put a lot on there just so I don't have to keep dipping my roller, but you don't need a paint tray or anything like that. I just put it right on top and roll it out. The paint doesn't have to be 100% smooth, anything like that, but you know, just do good work. Just do clean work, and every step is going to be a little easier down the road. But this is already, man, you start getting this painted black. This is going to be an island, and so all the edges are finished. But man, it really looks cool when you make a piece of MDF resemble natural stone, almost cooler than you're going to see a lot of natural stone, because we get to choose right where our vein is. We get to choose right where any of the color is or what we want to accentuate. And in this case, we're going to do a big vein of lots of different colors right down the center of this. I'm a big believer in more colors the better. So if you want something to look like it came from nature, nature doesn't just have one color in anything. There's multiple colors. A lot of times they're from the same color family, and that's just fine. But as you mix and meld colors, it makes it look more natural. But we need a base, and so if you want to start with something light, you start with a light base. If you want to start with something dark, we're going to start with a dark base. In this case, we're going black. You can't get darker than that. And then everything we put on top is going to be lighter. And then the black will still show through when we're done, so it will be a darker piece. But it's going to look like a piece of black stone. Now, if you wanted just to do like a soapstone or something that's really monotone almost, you can do your base color as most of your decoration and maybe just fog a little spray paint over it too in the same color families just to create that look. So what I'm doing here now is I'm just erasing a lot of that paint that's in the middle, and I'm just spreading it out, making sure it's nice and even. If you have a lot of thick paint on there, it won't dry. It won't dry real good for me. So I'm gonna make sure that there's not a lot of thick paint left. I let this dry overnight, and it's nice and dry. It just looks really cool. I love the edge on this top. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a 220 grit Scotch-Brite pad. You can use sandpaper. I just use a Scotch-Brite because it's fast and it doesn't leave unsightly marks and stuff like that. But you could use 220 sandpaper. But I'm just gonna sand the top real quick just to get rid of any roughness or anything like that. It just makes this next step go a little bit smoother. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I got my base color ready to go. It's all sanded, it's colored. I got 2 coats on there. That's important. You want to get good coverage. And now I'm going to spray some accent colors on. That's why, we're using a latex base coat. You want to use paint and primer in one so it bonds well. And then we're going to go ahead and just go to our regular gloss paints out of a rattle can. I get these at Home Depot. Get any colors you want. I just pulled a bunch out for this job. This is going to be an island, and I'll show you what base colors or what accent colors will do just to a base color. It's amazing what I could get this to look like without even putting the stone coat on yet. And what some people do that want like a honed finish or a matte finish or a piece of soapstone, something like that, they'll just do this, and then they'll do the stone coat, and then they'll matte the stone coat. I'll show you later how to do that as well. But this is going to be a really cool accent island. We're going to have all of our grain is going to run through the island this way. I'm going to do some wild effects with the stone coat, but the underlying base color gives it more interest and more depth. You're not going to see a lot of this base color, but it kind of sets you up for how you're going to pour your top. It's easy to do, have fun with it, and I'll just line these colors up. And you can see, I use these colors over and over on jobs, but it doesn't really matter what order I'm in. So I'm just going to start here, see what color I got here. I got a nickel here. It's a metallic nickel. And so when I spray these, I don't like to be right on the top. I like to be away from the top a little bit. And I fog these colors on. And make sure you get stuff on the edges, because the edges don't get as much stone coat when you're pouring, because it's a vertical surface. So make sure you get the edges good with your base color, and that makes the whole project look more realistic when you're done. Also, this chiseled edge that I do, it picks up the color on the edges really neat, and it looks very realistic. So as you can see, I'm just fogging this on there. I don't want to get big strokes in there. So it's just accents. All right, we did that color. Let's move on to our white here. Okay. And you should wear a mask. I'm talking to you guys, so I'm not wearing my mask right now, but I normally would in this. So make sure you protect your lungs, protect yourself. The Stone Coat product is 100% solids. There's no solvent. It's zero VOC, so it's really cool to work with that. But this obviously has some VLC in it. Okay, there's your white. I'm gonna go to, let's go to this caramel color here. So if you get little dots and stuff in it, you could kind of pat those out, rub them out if you don't like them. But if you look at natural stone, there is dots and stuff in natural stone. There's flakes and speckles and all kinds of stuff. So, ooh, this is gonna look cool. Make sure you come over those edges. You can see this just doesn't take very long to start making this thing look really neat. Okay, there's caramel. Oh, wow, here's a little bit of yellow. We're going to be really conservative with this. I don't want to, see, this is actually, I have a little test board over here that I'll spray the paint on to see how it's coming out. And I know that this one's speckling a little bit, so I'm just going to add a little bit of speckles of this. Brightens it up a little bit, puts a little bit of a undertone in there. Okay, I like that. Let's go on to this sage green. Now, it will look totally different on top of a different base color. So you can play around with that, make sample boards and see what this stuff will do under different colors, but this would look just totally different if I had a lighter base color. But I think this is going to look really neat with a dark base. I got a lot of color on my edges, that's making them look really cool. When you're done with your spray can, tilt it upside down and shoot a little bit out. Okay, here's a little bit of navy blue. I'm going to be conservative with this too. Alright, here's a little bit of ocean mist. Whoa! That just sounds like a cool color. And that's what we're doing. We're just misting it. This is an old can, so it's not coming out real fast. It's coming out really cool, actually. This is just looking really neat now. Okay. I like these metallic colors. This is a metallic copper. And these come out a lot different than other paints too. Okay. Now I think what we'll do, I'm going to put a little bit of gray in there, mute some of it out of here. But I just layered the colors. Okay, I got a little drip here, so I'm going to use my hand. Actually, I'm going to get a rag. So I'll just dab that with a rag. You don't want to see a drip. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more white in there, just to lighten it up a hair. Oh, I like that. Cool. I'm going to touch it with some black speckles. There we go. I like that. So as you can see, that doesn't take very long. You can do that on a whole kitchen. I'm going to let this dry. We'll get it ready to pour. But this is once this dries, it's ready to pour your stone coat, flood coat, your decorative coat on top. So I'll show you how that's done. But again, just have fun with the colors. This is a cool base, and it just really accentuates what we're going to do with the decoration. You're not going to see a lot of this, but when you do look through, because the stone coat's transparent, when you can see through it down to this, it just gives it multi-levels of dimension. It just makes it look neat. Okay, here it is up close, so you can see how that looks. I'll show you these edges. They just look really neat. And that's how we do our chiseled edge, our rock face. And this is going to look like a really neat table. And again, this is made all out of MDF. And that's just a black base with a bunch of different accent colors. You can see how I got the color down here on the edge. That makes a big difference when we're all done. It makes it look very realistic. In this video, we're going to show you how to mix the stone coat products very easily. So we're going to show you how we do that. And what you're going to need is you're going to need a container that has accurate measurements on it. I use a 2-quart container, and I like to look at my measurements from the inside while I'm pouring, because I can see it come right up to the line on 1 quart and then right up to the line on 2 quarts. So I'll show you, I like to wear these gloves when I'm working with the material. It is sticky. Always start with hardener first. It's a thinner viscosity material. So go ahead and pour that in. And I'm going up to 1 quart here. And I'm there. You want to be very accurate with this. The more accurate you are, the more chance of success you have. This is a very easy product to work with, but if you don't guess on your measurements, you need to get it very accurate, because if you don't, it'll leave sticky spots if you don't go 1 to 1. So I'm going 1 part A to 1 part B. And that's exactly how we do it. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the drill, and I'm going to start mixing. It's going to turn white at first, and that's okay. You keep mixing it, it'll clear right up. And now it's already getting clear. Keep that clear. You want to make sure when you're mixing, go slow and scrape the sides and the bottom of the container. Get all the way up the bucket and just really mix that. You're going to entrap some air when you do this, and that's okay. I'm going to show you how to get that out, but I don't like to use a stick and sit there and give myself carpal tunnel. I want to use a mixing drill. It's got a little Jiffy type mixing paddle. I get this at Home Depot for $5-6. And we're just going to mix. I got it going full speed, no problem. You don't want to leave the material in the container for a long period of time. Once you're done mixing, get it right out onto your substrate and get ready to start coloring. Once you get it out on your substrate and it's thin, you have a lot of working time. But when it's in a big mass like this, it'll generate heat and want to cure. So just be careful about leaving it in the pail too long. The Stone Coat bottles have a white cap and a black cap. And they're also marked A resin and B hardener. Remember, do the hardener first and then the resin. If you mess that up, it's not the end of the world, but it's better to put the hardener in first because it is a thinner viscosity and the resin comes out and sinks right to the bottom of the resin. So I'm going to go slow. Scrape the bucket again. You want to make sure that the material is warm. If you try to do this where the material is cold, it's going to be thicker. It's not going to want to mix as well, and you're going to have cloudiness in the material. If it's warm, that's why I got my wood stove going. I put the material right next to the wood stove for a few minutes. It warmed it up, and you want to work in an environment. Ideally, you're between 70 and 80 degrees. Low 70s are fine. You can be in the high 60s and get away with it, but you don't want to go much colder than that. So in the winter months, I bring it in a warmer environment outside my shop and do it in here because it's going to dry and cure perfectly. It's important, if you do it in a colder environment, to warm it up with heaters and keep it warm while the material is curing. But now it's in the bucket. I'm going to go ahead and get it out. When you get it out on your substrate, you want to use a square notch trowel. This is a 1/8 by 1/8 square notch, not a V-notch trowel. Square notch trowel, and that's what I spread and gauge the material with. So we're going to go ahead and pour it on our slab here. Okay, so now that we got our material mixed, we're going to go ahead and put the clear Stone Coat material right on our substrate. Substrate is level, it's nice and flat, and it's warm in this room. We got it in the 70s, which is good. You want to be between 70 and 75, 77 degrees. You can be hotter than that if you want it. You have a little bit less working time, but I like to be right about 70 degrees is great. So I'm going to pour my material out, and I like to start with the material right in the center of my workpiece. And then I'll move it out to the edges with my trowel. But now I got quite a bit of material that's sitting in the cup here, and this material, it's the material that wants to stick to the edges of the cup. Now a lot of times people will waste that material, but I scrape that material right in to the big mass of material right in the center of my piece. And the reason I scrape it out is because I'm now going to mix this material again while it's on my workpiece. So I'm not wasting the material, and I'm getting every benefit out of it I can. So I got that material I just scraped right here in this big mass. So I'm going to take my 1/8 by 1/8 square notch trowel. I use this thing over and over, and I'm going to just get in here and I'm going to mix that material. And that's going to mix it together really good. And I'm not pushing the teeth down strong on my substrate. I'm just floating it. So now I'm going to start spreading this material. And you're going to see this stuff spreads very, very easily. I'm not going all the way to the edges. I'll do that in a minute. My goal here is just to get it spread out and see if I need to mix more material. I don't want to mix more than I need, but this will tell me really quick how close I am. This is a 7-foot table by 3.5 feet. And this is a 2-quart flood coat is what I'm doing right here. So we'll see if I need to mix just a little bit more or not, but this will be really close. So I'm using that mass and I'm just spreading it on out. And I like to get a bead of the material worked right to the edge, because then I'll take and I'll be able to accurately get it right to the edge where I'm not spilling a bunch over the edge. Eventually we will go right over the edge, but until then I'll get it nice and close right to my edge. I work with a lot of slabs. I work with a lot of live edge stuff, so we're not dealing with just straight edges. It's really cool when you can work with a piece like this that's totally unique. It's got a live edge look with a split rock face that we did on it. This material is really versatile, what you can do. But the first step you got to do when you get it poured on your substrate is you got to cover the whole substrate with it. And then we'll start the fun part, which is the decoration. Yeah, it looks like the 2 quarts was just perfect for this flood coat. So again, this piece is 7 foot long, 84 inches by about 3.5 feet. It ranges between 42 and 40 inches on the width because of the live edge. Oh yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm just getting it right to the edges. You can see I got a little bit of mass here that I'm working with, that I'm dragging around with me, and I'm just tooling this right to the edge of my counter. And this is just a really cool accent island. It's going to be a showpiece in a kitchen. It's just going to look fabulous. Okay, so I don't have any material on my edges yet. I'm about to do that, but first, because I use a square notch trowel, when I spread the material, the square notch trowel will leave a little bit of lines in the top. So here, I'm going to go through one more time, show you how. So if I just left it like this, it will level. But what it's also going to do is it would leave just little bits of transparent rake marks in there that you might see. And so I've made a habit of chopping the material. It also gets it even on the top. But I'll show you exactly what I do next. It also primes my brush. Okay. So here's the brushes that I use. I get these at Home Depot. They have a short little rubber handle. It's a nylon brush, and it works really well. They're inexpensive. I make sure and I shed the brush, pull any loose bristles off of it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to use this brush to decorate, we're going to use it to chop, and we're going to use it to do the edges. So I got a little bit of extra material here, so I'm going to start there to prime my brush. And then I'm going to just start chopping. And this is going to get rid of any man-made lines in that, which is really cool. And it'll erase anything like that. And then as you get this brush built up, you can start brushing those edges with that material, because you're going to have some little drips and stuff down the edges, which is totally fine. That's what you're going to want, and that material we're going to use to coat those edges. So I'm going to go ahead and chop out this whole piece. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you is exactly how I put the color into the top. Here I have that same spray paint, the gloss spray paint you can get at Home Depot or any hardware store, and I'm going to spray it directly on my brush that I just used to chop, and that's going to start putting color in my top. You can also take your spray can to get color in quickly and just work it in that way, and that works too, just depending on how much of each color you want to do. We're going to do a lot of different colors and show how really unique and cool this stuff can look. But we'll just, you know, you have quite a bit of working time now. I could work on this for about 30 to 40 minutes from this point and be just fine. But that all depends on your temperature and how long you take to spread it out. Again, we put a black base on here, and we're going to lighten that base up quite a bit, but you can change the look tremendously just by changing the base colors that you're doing. You want to wipe it in the edges, especially this chiseled edge. My wife Catherine's in the background shaking up cans, getting them ready. It's nice to have two people working on these, so you can be effective with your time. Well, this is looking cool already. Now, just with that clear on there and that base color, you could stop there if you want to, you know, make it look like concrete or honed soapstone or those kind of looks. You can stop at that point, and if you like it, I generally like to put some veins and some things in here that look like it would with real exotic natural stone. Okay. Let's take some aluminum. Okay, this is aluminum. This is really a neat look when you do this, because this actually looks like mica and metal in the top. It's a really neat look. You start melding colors together, that's where you get the natural looks. And I like to chop too here and there, just to give it that marbleized look. Sometimes we chop a whole top, and that will be the color. And we'll chop just a couple different colors in. And that's how you can make, like if I wanted to make a Carrara marble, you can do that just by adding a little bit of gray and black over a white base and chopping it just like that. And you'll get a very neat Carrara marble look. And as this stuff sits, it'll start to separate and do really cool things that you don't even have to manipulate. It just starts doing it because the pigments and stuff in the spray paint are they act differently with each other and with the stone coat and everything like that. So you get some really wild looks. Let's do some of that caramel. So if you don't want a lot of one color, don't spray it into the top. Spray it on your brush and bring it into the top. And you can manipulate that a little bit easier. And I'm going to show you how to make more defined veins as well. Right now we're putting down a base of a really, really neat looks. And you can see we're doing a grain. We're doing a grain. I'm going this way with the top. I'm not staying perfectly centered, you know, which you don't want to be. You don't want to try to keep it perfect. You want to do off center. You want to do some different strokes and different looks in it. But I'm generally keeping a grain, and a lot of natural stone has grain and sediment and different layers like that. The more colors you do in a top, the more natural it looks. And that's just because nature has multiple colors in different, you know, even looking at rocks and trees and things in nature, they may look like a muted out color. You get close and there's just hundreds of colors in the same family right there in one piece. Okay, this is looking neat. All right. Let's do, this is a metallic aged copper, so I'm just going to fog some of this in the top. Not even do anything with it, just fog it. That's it. Okay. I'm going to do some of the sage green. These are, a lot of these colors I used over the base too, so they're going to sound familiar. And
you need to shake it up a little bit more.
and bring your colors over the edge as well. Don't forget to do that. And this color here, it doesn't show up a ton, which is kind of what I want, but I'm melding it with some of that white and some of that caramel and just making it look really natural. No, I think I'm gonna fog some black over this, just like we were doing that base color, and that black will react really neat with what's going on here. But it takes a minute to do it. You get a little drips, you just brush them a little bit and meld them in, and they look just fine. So I got some drips here, and I'll just brush those out. Okay, so now I got a really neat base here. You could be done there, you could start torching there, but we're going to do something different. So I'm going to start with that black, and I'm going to start putting some paint real heavy on my paint stick, and just start dragging it through my material. Because I'm going to put a big vein right through the center of this top. And we're going to put all kinds of really neat colors in there. Okay? So there's black. We'll take all those same colors, plus on veins you can add colors like blue and light blue. You can add, red. You can add whatever you want. But we're going to add just a lot of colors in our vein. And I'm going to show you what it'll do. Here's some silver. I like the way silver reacts with all these. Looks really neat and natural. And I want a big wide vein, so I'll just keep going a little wider. But this is how you can control the color down to thin lines. But later I'm going to torch this top to get rid of air bubbles, things like that. But when we torch it, we're going to meld these colors together even more. So here's a really neat, it's called Lagoon. It's a real bright blue. And that's actually out. All right, here's a bright blue. This will look wild. So I'll put a little bit of that in there. Now it looks real, it stands out big time right now, but as we keep going, it'll mute out and it'll meld and it'll look really, really beautiful. But it's an accent that will set this piece apart. This is what would make something in the real stone world. This is what would make something expensive. It's just different colors like that. It's the more colors that are in a natural stone, especially when you get into the turquoises and blues and things, they get high end and they get quite expensive. So I'm putting quite a bit of that blue in there. I like it. I like the way it's looking with these other colors. When I do these for customers, A lot of times the customer will give me quite a bit of freedom because they've seen my portfolio, they know what we can do, and they're not, here's some navy. I'll put some more navy in here too. This is a pretty contrasting blue, but when all these meld together, it just looks natural. So I'm doing my wild colors because I'm going to come back over it with less wild colors, my muted out colors and my silvers and my blacks and whites and that. I usually always end with black and white, but this is already, I mean, this is already looking really neat. I'm really liking the way this is looking. Okay, this is a blue metallic. No, let's hang off on any more blues. Yeah, I'll put a little white in there right now to start mixing with that blue. Bit more white. The white looks really neat when you white spray doesn't want to meld with other colors quite as much, so it'll start to separate and it looks very, very natural. We'll do a lot of close-ups at the end of this video to show you exactly what these are doing, but you can see it's not a technique that's hard. All I'm doing is using this stir stick and moving colors together. You don't want to keep the colors separate, you want to force them together. Okay, metallic copper. This is a kind of a dark copper. This is a really neat look. That it almost looks like a metallic mica as you do it into the top. And as I'm working, I am moving that vein further and further out. I started skinny, and you move it further and further out. You can do that. You can keep it skinny, but I don't like to keep it straight either. I want to move it. I'll move it with the torch. I'll move it out. You don't want a real straight line. Ooh, my wife wants some gold in there. Okay, rose gold. Nice. Oh, that is cool. Boy, all those blues, they're melding together now, and they're just looking really cool. Now I oversprayed some rose gold right here, and I like that. I'm gonna spray some on the top right there and just see what happens. Okay. Okay, we'll do some metallic black in there. I'm going to fog a little bit of that over here on the top. Maybe fog a little bit right into the vein. I like what the metallics do when they try and mix with the surface. They almost become transparent and they look really natural. Okay. Okay, give me some solid black. Okay, so we're going to put some dark lines right at the edge of our vein, and that kind of distinguishes it as a vein, brings your eye to it. Don't have to do that, but we like to. We call it framing the vein. I'll bring some more black through the vein. I think I'm going to bring some more white into it, and then I'm going to probably do my brightest blue again and see how I like that. that bright blue? Okay. Get some more white and mix it with that blue. I go right in between that blue and force them together there. I'm going to take a little bit more caramel just to get another color in the mix here. Okay. Here goes that caramel. I like rust colors. You know, I've studied natural stone quite a bit. I've done a lot of work with granites and marbles. And now we make this. And I got to tell you, a lot of this to me looks so much cooler than what you could even find at a slab yard. Just very unique. Okay, I'm going to get out to that black where I framed it. I'm going to intermix some stuff with that so it's not just black. Okay. Oh yeah, I love what that rose gold did here. It's really granified it. All right, so we're gonna hit some more of this metallic all over the top, and it will start to granify the whole thing. Boy, that's neat. I think I'm going to hit a little bit of black speckles on it. Okay, so I'm just going to hit a little bit of black on this, just a little bit. Okay, so I got a little bit of dots on there that I don't like. So all I got to do, there's a dot right here. I'm just going to touch it and move it around a little bit. Can't really mess this stuff up. We used to be scared to add more colors and stuff like that. Okay, I'm just using a regular propane torch here, and that's going to move these colors. This material is already very, very flat, but this will help pop any residual bubbles and that kind of thing. So come close and I'm going to show you exactly. Look at the vein now. I mean, you could look close in there. Look at what all those different colors do. And now I'm going to move them. The more that I can move these colors, the more natural it's going to be. So if you would focus on that vein, we're going to start to move those colors. My goal is not to mess them up, it's just I want to move it, thin it out just a little bit so it's a little bit more transparent. You'll start to see those base colors that we did. And the more that I can move this, the more realistic it'll start to look. And this is honestly, it just looks like a piece of artwork when you're done. It's really fun to do. It's fun to see it come alive. Boy, that's looking neat. So you can see, I have a lot of working time. I don't need to be in a real big hurry. I'm just going to go through here and move my color. It's still very, very fluid. It hasn't started to gel. You'll want to wait till the next day to touch the piece and do your next coat. If you want to do another coat. going to just go through and torch the whole piece. If there's a little piece you don't like, just touch it with your finger and then torch it. You can see where I sprayed that rose metallic gold, how it's really done its number there, and it's made those little dots and stuff that I really like and strive for. You see that a lot in natural stone. This will be a very neat island. So this black here was just a little too concentrated, so I'm just using my finger and moving it around a little bit, and then I'll come back in a minute and torch that. And this is moving colors around and stuff like that too. Just making it look natural. You don't want anything that looks man-made. See those colors over the edge, they really look neat when it goes over that edge. So down here, this white is a little bit overbearing to me. It's just got some big. I'm gonna just soften it up just a hair, just by rubbing my finger through it. And there you go. Now I'll come back and torch that, and it doesn't look so loud. And that's just how easy it is if something's bothering you. And then I'll step back and look at the piece as a whole, you know, and I see this is just a little bit too uniform for me, so I'm going to make some edges go in and out here. Soften some of this white up here. Especially when you torch it, it just becomes very, very thin and it wants to flow like a dream. So that's really, that looks good. All right, guys, this is Stone Coat. You can find it at stonecoatcountertops.com. It's just a really fun material to work with. It's amazing what you can do with it. It's not hard to work with. Any advanced do-it-yourselfer can do this project from start to finish and really have a showpiece in your own home. This will go over existing countertops like Formica and Corian and things like that. And it's just a fun material to put in your home. You can match colors that you already are using in your house without searching in slab yards. It's very inexpensive to do this yourself and just get a very, very neat high-end look. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to our videos. We are putting up more and more of these do-it-yourself videos so you learn how to work with our material. You can find it at stonecoatcountertops.com, and if you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below and we'll answer them for you. Thank you very much, and I'd love to see the projects that you guys can create with Stone Coat Countertops. Thank you.